Do you put on everybody else's life jacket before your own? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. If you put everybody else's life jacket on before yourself, it's okay. It's okay. But stay to this 2 episodes today because this is for you, okay? This is for you because there are many, many, many reasons why we choose to put someone else above ourselves, whether that comes from our moral beliefs, our faith beliefs, whether that comes from growing up as the oldest child, always being the person who's the giver and never the receiver. There's plenty of reasons. And we're going to go through them today. And we're going to go through some tips we can use that I personally used to go through them today in this episode. So don't click out. Okay? Okay. For those of you, this is your first time being here. Welcome to another episode of the Shifting.your.atmosphere podcast with me, Simone, the host, of course, and the founder of Shifting Your Atmosphere, where we aspire to help millennial women who have lost their identity shift from that current mindset spoon that God has for them through teaching them to show up for themselves every single day. Since we've already established what today's episode gonna be about, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Why do y'all think we put on someone else's life jacket before our own? Now, y'all already know how I get that. I went ahead and asked Siri, Chat, GBT, all of them. I asked it because I wanted to know the top reason, not my personal opinion, but the top reason out of all the data around here of why we tend to put someone else's life jacket on before our own. And essentially what that ends up meaning is you put someone else before yourself. There's plenty of reasons why. Like me as a mother, I put my children before myself. Okay, that seems doable. But there's a point in time where putting others before yourself becomes detrimental to you as an individual. It's no longer being a good person. It's no longer, being a good mother. It's no longer doing those things that we begin doing them as. It turns around and becomes like a straight sword to our own identity, our self-worth, our joy, our happiness, all of those things, because we're putting everyone else before ourselves. And what it starts to feel like, if you don't have people in your life that are also putting you before them so that it balances out, what it ends up feeling like is that everybody else matters but me. Everybody else is important but me. Everybody else is being seen and heard but me. And that is one of the simplest ways that your thoughts can begin to shift you in a direction that is no longer healthy for you. So before we get too far down into that, we're going to talk about this today. And if you're already that far, I hope that some of these experiences that I have experienced that I'm going to share with you guys today will help you navigate through that and start to come out on the other side of beginning to put yourself first to a certain degree that is doable for yourself in the beginning until you grow to naturally put yourself first before others. And little side note before somebody come in here and say, that's selfish, I'm not telling you not to still take care of people. But I'm telling you is you have to put yourself first because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If everybody else comes first before you, how can you, at some point, how are you still able to help those people? How are you still able to help take care of those people that you're putting first, right? If everyone continues to come first and you are not being put first by someone else, we have to do it for yourself, or else you're going to lose the capacity to continue to show for everyone else the way that you have been. Okay? Okay. Now that I done got my spiel out the way, let's go ahead and get into the top reasons why most people will put others before themselves. One of the first reasons they mentioned is because we believe that we helping other people. And we believe that in helping other people, that equals compassion, which would be the opposite of what we do not want to portray, which is selfishness. So it's like, oh, I'm going to put everyone else, we're going to put everyone else, I'm going to help, I'm going to help, I'm going to help, I'm going to stretch myself thin. I'm going to agree to everything someone asks me to do. I'm going to show up for every single person because that was my biggest thing. Like, I'm going to show up for everybody because I know what it feels like to sit in a room excited to see someone showing up for you and no one is able to show up. So every time someone has something, like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up. Even if that meant I was sacrificing sleep, even if that meant I was stretching myself thin and making it a little bit dangerous for me to drive from place to place to be everywhere, even if that meant I was sacrificing even to the point that I wasn't eating enough or I wasn't prioritizing my health to be able to work out because I had somewhere else to be for someone. Well, there was a period of time in my life where I feel like I never even had a second to breathe because I was always showing up for someone in whatever capacity they needed to. I was going up here to celebrate this person. I was going up there to celebrate that person. This person needed help with something. I was making sure I was the help. My kids had this function. I was there. My kids needed this thing created for school. I was there. My job needed me here for X, Y, and Z. I was everywhere, y'all. I was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. We always said there's not enough time in the day. But I think it's kind of about how we manage our time versus that there's not enough time in the day. But also becoming more in control of your time management. And that's where putting yourself first and placing your own life jacket on first comes into play. Because if you're not prioritizing what you need to be able to show up for other people, how are you gonna do that? You can't show up for somebody else when you're sick. You can't show up for somebody else when you're dehydrated. You can't show up for somebody else when your health declining, when you're not sleeping enough that you have the capacity to stay awake to drive. Like you're not gonna be able to do that. And if you are, you're gonna be showing up as a lesser version of yourself than they expect. So if I show up, they expect smiley, happy key, right? And if I show up and my body's present, but my eyes are sunken in. My focus is not there. I'm yawning every 3 seconds. Like I'm not looking as if I'm present. That's a difference in how I'm showing up for those people. But I pressed, right? I pressed to make sure that I was there, right? But the quality of how I was showing up for people was horrible at that point because I hadn't taken care of myself first, right? So be careful if you're one of the a kind of person who is very compassionate and you begin to use that as your reasoning behind why you will put someone else's life jacket on first before your own, make sure you understand that being compassionate, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being compassionate. And yes, you may not want to be selfish. May not want to be seen as selfish. However, there has to be some kind of middle ground. There has to be a line that you tread. There has to be a level of boundaries there to say, hey, look, I'm compassionate, but I'm compassionate at the capacity that I personally have to give out to someone else once I'm okay. I care about myself and I care about the way that I'm going to show up for you and the quality of service that I'm going to be able to get to you when I'm my best self. And if I'm not my best self, you're going to get whatever crumbs I have left. You're going to get the air I'm pouring out of an empty cup. You're not going to get, the best that you could get from me. I'm not going to be the best mom I could be to my children if my cup's empty, if my vest is not on first. Like if I'm drowning and trying to save them, we all going to end up dying because they can't save themselves. And then I'm already struggling to hang on. Like somebody got to be good before you can make sure everybody else is good. Does that make sense, y'all? I hope it makes sense. Okay, so before we get too far into the episode, let's go. You already know where we gotta go. We gotta go to the corner. Okay. Welcome to the corner. Welcome back to the corner. Let's get straight into the fit because you already know what time it is. Now, everything we get to play in our clothes, okay? So today I'm wearing this sample sweatshirt from my brand with this for the culture cropped button down shirt paired with this brown scrunch tied skirt and then some boots because again it's kind of cold but it kind of ain't cold outside, so we wearing all this to avoid wearing a coat. And then yes ma'am, for some shades, you already know that we decided to be bold with the earrings today, y'all. And then of course just a little baby light stack because I'm never gonna do too much on the jewelry. And then the everyday little rings that are gold bracelet, gold watch, and that's it. That's it. Yeah, I know I said I was gonna do spring and color. It's a little color in there, ain't it? It's a little. She got a little color. Shift got a little color. So what we think of today's fit check, y'all? What we think of today's fit check? Is it giving me? Is it giving fashion? What y'all think? Okay, y'all ready to go back to the episode? Okay, let's go. Did y'all love today's outfit? I do. I do. It's giving for the culture. I love that for us. Okay, now let's get right back into the episode. Okay. Now back to why we should put our own life jacket on before we put somebody else's on. That sometimes we may feel like we have a moral duty to help people before ourselves if we feel like they can't help themselves. Like I said, my children. If I'm struggling, I can't drown trying to save them because now we all gonna drown because I'm gonna weigh them down and they're gonna go down with me. However, I do understand the feeling that they're children. They didn't ask to be here. They're not old enough to take care of themselves, but still, the fact still remains. If I'm not good and I'm trying to take care of them to be good, one, what lesson am I teaching them? I'm teaching them that it's not okay to take care of yourself. I'm teaching them that it's okay to put everyone beyond yourself, even if you're crashing and burning and you're falling apart. That's not teaching them good qualities for them to go on and just about taking care of themselves. And even I have one kid that is he thin line on being a people pleaser, right? And I have to constantly remind him, baby, it's okay to want to give your friends a chance, another chance. It's okay to want to be nice to each and every one of your friends, but you can't give everyone everything and you can't give everyone every chance that they don't give you. You can't give everyone everything that you have, and now you have nothing. So you have to still make sure that while you're sharing, you still save a little bit for yourself. While you're helping and giving everyone else a chance, you still give yourself a chance to not be in trouble, to not, you know, be the person whose feelings get hurt. Like you have to also leave room for you as you're helping other people. And so I believe I struggled the most with this when I was younger, right? I am the oldest child. And in being the oldest child, my parents worked a lot. So it was me and my sisters. We was kicking it all the time, right? And as I got older, just still, upper levels of middle school, upper levels of high school, I would always put my siblings first. And I would bear the grunt of any and everything that would come around to protect them. And it was simply because I felt like nothing to say genuinely about what they could and could not handle. But I feel like I grew up in a time and I grew up with a level of responsibility to handle certain things better and more than they could. So I would be like a shield to them. I would cover anything that could come up to them. If we were going to get in trouble for something and they really didn't have the capacity to help or to deal with it or help it get done, like clean up in a certain time, I would just bear all the cleaning and let them play or let them do something else. Because I'm like, well, honestly, y'all gonna y'all gonna make it worse before it's better. So I'ma just do it. If anything negative were gonna come up or come around, or even any things that I felt like they just didn't have the capacity to handle, even as I became an adult, I would go and cover them for all those things. I would put their life jacket on first, even if that means I was tired, even if that meant I gave them money that I probably needed for something else, but I felt like they couldn't survive on small amounts of money like I may have been able to in college, or they couldn't survive going to school and going to work like I did when I was in college. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna throw you some money because I understand what that feels like. So even beyond feeling like other people are not able to handle the same capacity as you can, for me personally, I didn't want other people to feel the heaviness, to feel the burdens, to feel the harder struggles that I had to, whether they had the capacity to or not. I became a person that was like, yes, I've already been through this and I know how hard it is. If there's anything that I could do to help make sure you don't feel it as hard as I did when I was going through it, I'm gonna do that. However, at a certain point, that started to tear me apart because it was just me. It's like, baby, you're not the savior. You're not the savior. You cannot save everyone from everything. And in some instances, God had to point out to me, sometimes I'm teaching people a lesson. Sometimes I'm growing and developing them the same way I grew and developed you. And you're getting in my way by always trying to fix and put someone else before yourself. Like, worry about you, pray for them, help them as you can, help them as I lead you to, but do not put them over you because at a certain point, we're going to be looking for that back in return. And as you've already realized, to come to realization, they don't have that to give back to you. So you cannot crumble trying to help them avoid lessons, avoid stumbling, or just to because you think that they don't have the capacity to hold something. You can't go to such great lengths for them and then think that they're going to be able to give that back to you if you've already recognized they don't have the capacity to give it to themselves in the beginning, right? Okay. And that leads me to the third reason why the data shows. Like, I think I kind of dealt with all these things, y'all. But the third one was that we put others first because we think that that equals a team effort. Like, if we put someone else first, then that's going to increase the likelihood of everyone being okay, right? That's what I was just talking about, y'all. That's really something I struggle with heavily with family. Like, I'm like, I want everyone to be good. I want everyone to come up. I want everyone to have X, Y, and Z. I want, and it's like, although I worked for it, although I put in the hard work to grow, to, try to break generational curses, to have a certain level of financial stability, to learn financial literacy, all those things, like, I still was trying to put everybody else before me because I'm like, if I help them come up, they're going to be good and then we're all going to keep circling around to help, right? Mm-mm, mm-mm. Mm-mm. In my experience, that didn't happen. And I don't think it's because they weren't willing to help. I don't think it's because they, wouldn't want everybody to win also. But at the end of the day, again, if you already recognize someone is low in capacity, if you already realize that you got to put them first because they can't put themselves first, or because, they're not even willing to put you first, but you still are compassionate enough to put them first, again, what can you expect? And I used to become so angry. I used to be so hurt. There was a plethora of emotions around me putting other people first, thinking that that would produce a team answer, thinking that everyone, I think there's a quote. The quote is, you have to stop expecting you from other people, right? And me and my therapist went through that a lot because I'm like, if I went out of my way for them, why they not going out of their way for me? Like, if I'm going out of my way for everyone, I'm putting everyone's else life jacket on before my own. You telling me not one person has the capacity to put me first? You're telling me the person I put first the most doesn't have the capacity to put me first most? Ain't no, I'm constantly talking about capacity, but sometimes in some instances, it's not even about capacity. Some people willingly choose to put themselves first, right? So you're putting everyone else first, and everyone else is choosing to put themselves first at the same time. And you think it's a team effort, right? But you find out the hard way that it's not. But you have nothing left because you depleted yourself completely because you thought it was going to come back around for you. I'm not telling you other people aren't. I'm telling you that if that's not the case in your circle, find you a circle that that's going to be the case, or create an understanding that you come first. And when you give out of your overflow, when you give to others or you start to pour and service others out after you make sure you're okay, that means you're not damaging yourself by putting them first now. You're already first. God first, then you, then everybody else, right? And I'm never going to say that there's never a time where, it may get off balance, but you're going to always have to circle back to making sure that you're good, to making sure that your life jacket is secure. Even if you helping with two hands buckling at the same time, you can never take your own hand off of making sure you're okay. You can never take your own hand off of your own life jacket, off your own buckle. So secure your life jacket first, and then proceed to do someone else's prior to your own, because at some point it's always going to produce a content. The top things you say that it produce for us is burnout. That's one of the biggest things it's going to produce for you. You're going to burn out. There's no way around it. There's no way around it, because if it's not going to happen in one way, like you're going to physically deplete, your mental may deplete. Like for me, I was physically able to put people first, put people first, put people first. I have the capacity to hold and carry a lot of things, right? And even as I pray and I grow with God, he continues to help me uphold all the things that I have to uphold. Like, I just don't have no choice. Like, that's just what my life is. However, at a certain point, although my body physically was showing up for everything, my mental, maybe it was hitting rock bottom. My mental was hitting rock bottom. And it's like, don't nobody care about my mental? Don't nobody care about how I'm crumbling inside? Don't nobody pay attention to me enough to see that I'm a shell of the person that I typically am or who I used to be? And the honest truth in my experience was, no. I was doing and producing what needed to be done for that situation, right? What needs to be done for everyone else. And in that, that's where I started to lose myself, because I started to think less of myself. My thoughts were way more negative. The negative thoughts were way more believable. Don't nobody care about you. Has anyone noticed your mental's down? But you're still showing up for everybody else. Everybody else cares you're showing up for them. That's very selfish of them, you know. And so the thoughts just started to build, 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 build. And it was feeding and preying on my mind about myself and about my perception of others. I don't think that now, at this point in my life, I don't believe that everyone's a bad person just because they put themselves first. I don't think everyone's a bad person simply because they accept what you're pouring out to them, right? But I do think now, I believe people are going to accept, receive, and continue to expect what you allow, right? So if you're always giving, 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 and never expressing and verbalizing, communicating that you have needs as well, what's going to happen? They're not going to worry about it. If you are pouring into other people and you never create a space or secure or go after and seek after or pray for, that same kind of circle of energy to be back around you, and the people that you're pouring it into by choice don't have the capacity to give it that to you, like, you already know they don't possess the capacity to pour into you the way that you're pouring into them, or show up for you the way that you're showing up for them, or put your life jacket on while you putting theirs on. So, I mean, we kind of walk ourselves into these situations, which is why I wanted to talk about it today, because there was a time, and even I kind of revisit this over the weekend a little bit, where I was about to start doing it again. I was about to start putting somebody else's life jacket on for my own. And it's like, Key, no, man, it's okay. They're okay. The situation is okay. It's not a life or death situation. Like, they're going to be okay. Make sure you're good first and then go help. So it's never a, we're not helping other people, I'm telling you to become selfish and never help other people. No, I'm telling you, make sure you're good first. Then go help. Then go help. Then at that point, you can't be upset or mad. But I also feel like you should really try your best to work on a circle for yourself that would pour back into you the way that you're pouring out, simply so that the idea around it being a team effort would be more realistic compared to the way we're actually experiencing it, which would be everybody else in the team is good except me, right? I'll say this is happening to my family, right? They used to tell me, Key, you the glue of the family, you the glue of the family, like everybody's good, you can keep everybody together, right? Okay, cool. But that means when I'm keeping everybody together, I'm sticking and moving to make sure everybody else is good. They life jacket secure, everything, right? When I fall apart, essentially everybody else will fall apart because the glue is missing now, right? The thing or the person that was holding everything else down, holding everybody else together, once they start to fall apart, everything else is belly up and it's going downhill, simply because the person that was holding the situation, the area, the family, or whatever your circumstance may be, the person that was holding on to together, the glue, once the glue is not sticking no more, it's not holding itself together. The glue's not doing what it usually does. Everybody else is gonna fall anyway, right? So if you a person out there that's not pouring, that can be people that's pouring into you, cut it out. Cut it out. Pour back into them people that's pouring to you. Love on them people that's rubbing on you. Because somebody else is constantly putting your life jacket off on and making sure you're good first. Check their jacket, please. Please check their jacket. We all want to be seen. We all want to be loved. We all want to be prioritized by someone, right? And it's on the off chance you don't have anyone in your life like that. At the end of this video, join the support group. Click the link that's in the description and that'll be provided at the end of it. Join it. That is the reason why I created it. It's here. It's free. It's available to you. If you don't have nobody like that in your life to pull back into you and make sure your life jacket is on, help you make sure your life jacket is on first while you're constantly being superhero and super saver to everyone else, I will help you. I will come support you. Like, I'ma still make sure my life jacket good first too, because I can't pour into you what I ain't got in me. But I'm gonna make sure you're supported. There are other women that will be in the group that will make sure you're supported. If all of us give a little piece of our pie to you, we're gonna be good. And we're also still gonna be good because we're not gonna deplete ourselves trying to give you all 100% of the 80 we get, right? Okay. Let's start to do that for each other, right? And God kind of even gave me a different view on a scripture that a lot of people use in a different way, but he kind of showed me it and tied it into what we're talking about today, right? So the scripture is Matthew 7:5. It says, "You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from another person's eye." Now, you already know typically people mention this when they're talking about judgment. Don't judge somebody else, or they pair it with the casting the first stone, right? And God kind of brought this to me around putting your own life jacket on first. Like, if I'm always worried about clearing the speck out your eye to make sure your eye good and your vision clear, and you got clarity in what you got going on, your walk or your situation along your journey is smooth and clear of any kind of things, but not my own first, I'm gonna mess around and not be able to serve you adequately. Like, if I'm walking around with a speck in my eye, trying to help you clear the speck out your eye, I might mess around and miss the speck in your eye, or push it in further, or do some kind of damage to you, or just not serve you as well because my own vision is blurry. I can't help you speak positivity into you if I'm not speaking positivity into myself. I can't help you financially if I'm struggling financially. So it's like you got to set the scene, set the tone for yourself first. You got to put your life jacket on, secure it. Whatever area you're talking about, it don't matter the area, put your jacket on. Because at that point, you're secured to help someone else effectively. You don't want to keep pouring out help that's not effective. Like, you want to keep showing up, like I said, as a shell of yourself. You don't want to keep pouring out what you don't even got, right? You need a base level for yourself before you can give it out to somebody else. And if you're not doing it that way, that's how hurt people hurt people. That's how you bleed on people. That's how you do all these things, because in your heart, you have a great heart, a good heart. You're compassionate. You want to help other people. You want to love other people. You want to do those things. But when you're not healed internally, when you're not secure internally, when you are not pouring into yourself internally, when you're not spending your time with God to make sure your cup is full first, when you're not secure financially, when you're not prepared in whatever area it is that you're going to try to go out and help somebody else, how are you going to be giving your best to that? How are you going to effectively be pouring and help them, guide them in a way that you're not even doing for yourself? It's like not taking your own advice. How you going to advise me of something you don't even believe for yourself? How you going to advise me to work out you not working out? How you going to advise? And it kind of like makes you less believable too as well. So if I'm telling you something that I'm not willing to do, like right now on this podcast, that's good, ain't that's a good thing. Okay. I know I've been telling you all these reasons. You're like, Key, you telling me all these things about how I should not be putting somebody else's life jacket on, but how am I really gonna practice these? But what's some tips and tools I can use to stop doing it, right? First thing, like I keep mentioning, identify your needs. If you don't know your needs, how can someone else know your needs? If you don't know your needs well enough to communicate your needs to someone else, how could someone else be able to help you with what you need help with to, like I said, teamwork make the dream work. How they can, support you as you're supporting them. If they don't know that, whether they got the capacity or they don't got the capacity, they don't have the information, so they can't help you. And you also don't know what you need. Even if you got to put yourself first by yourself, okay? You don't know what you need if you ain't taking that out. So start by keeping it out first. Another thing you can do is you can schedule self-care. Like for me, I know that I need some time for exercise to clear my head. That's my little me time. So whether that's a walk outside, whether that's gospel Zumba in the house, whether that's going to a workout class, whether that's weightlifting, whatever it is, I'm scheduling time out for myself. Even if that is I got to multitask, take a hot bath, and do some other form of something that I need to get done as well. I'm still going to schedule out time for me. I'm going to schedule out time to refuel with God. I'm going to schedule out what I need for me, part of my needs, which is part of my self-care. I'm gonna schedule it out, and you should figure out what that looks like for you and how you can best schedule it out so that you're still refueling yourself in the midst of you still showing up for everybody else and putting everybody else's life jacket on. You're still securing yours by scheduling out how you can fit it into your day and where it's best to prioritize it versus waiting to the end of the day and now you don't have anything left for yourself, right? Another thing you do is set boundaries with people. Set boundaries with those people or those places or those situations that are not pouring back into you, but they're too draining of you. Set boundaries so you know, hey, look, at this point, I'm at my maximum. I've given all I can give for now to make sure that I'm feeling okay. So I'm gonna come back and revisit this or come back and pour out to you again whenever I can. I only got 2 hours I can offer you. That's all I got. I only have $50 I can offer. That's all I get. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help you make sure you secure. But this is all I got to make sure that I'm not depleted. I used to have that bad. Like I used to give out umpteen amounts of money because I didn't want someone to not have their, needs or their necessities. So I would give it out, think it's gonna come back around. And when it could not come back around, now I'm in a bind and I probably don't got nobody to call for being in the bind. But I would give out these large amounts of money. And so I had to learn to get to a point where the boundary is give out the amount of money you can stand to not see again. Okay. That's the boundary with money now. I can and the last thing is just seek support. Like I said, I'm here to support you, get you a group of people around you that is supporting you and pouring back into you the way that you're pouring out to them. And I believe these are major things that I began to do in my life that helped me switch over from prioritizing putting other people's life jacket on before my own and help me put my own first, make sure it's secure, and then I was able to pour out to other people. And y'all, that's all I really got for y'all today before the episode get way too long. But as always, like, share, subscribe, and really, really think of someone who you feel like does this or could be helped with this information and share with them. Our social medias will be at the end, of course. And until the next episode.